Yes.
I once heard mention a story about some safes.
Yes, well, so what's the question?
Could you tell us that story?
Well, there's a lot of stories about safes. If you give me 10 minutes, I'll tell you 3 stories about safes, all right? All right, now I'll tell you more stories about safes. The fact that I was able to pick the locks interested me in the safety of the whole thing. Somebody had taught me how to pick locks. Then they got filing cabinets which had safe combinations. One of my diseases, one of my things in life is anything that's secret I try to undo. And so those filing cabinets were made by the Mosler Lock Company, in which we put our documents after that. Everybody had them. They represented a challenge to me, how the hell to open them. So I worked on them, and I worked on them. There's all kinds of stories about how you can feel the numbers and listen to things and so on. That's true, and I understand it very well. For old-fashioned safes, they had a new design so that nothing would be pushing against the wheels while you were trying them. I won't go into the technical details, but none of the old method would work. I read books by locksmiths. Books by locksmiths always say in the beginning how the safe's underwater and the woman is drowning or something, and you open the safe. I don't know, a crazy story. And then in the back, they tell you how they do it, and they don't tell you anything sensible. It doesn't sound like they could really open safes that way. Like, guess the combination on the basis of the psychology of the person who owns it. So I always figured I'd keep it a secret. Anyway, I kept working. And so like a kind of a disease, I kept working on these things until I found out a few things. First, I found out how big a range you need to open the combination, how close you have to be. And then I invented a system by which you could try all the combinations that you'd have to try. 8,000, it turned out, because you could be within 2 of every number, and it turns out that's every 5th number out of 100, and 20,000, 8,000 combinations. And then I worked out a scheme by which I could try numbers without altering a number that I already set by correctly moving the wheels, so that I could do it in 8 hours to try all the combinations. And then I discovered still further, this took me about 2 years of researching. I had nothing to do up there, you see, and I was fiddling. Finally, I discovered a way that it's easy to take the last 2 numbers of the combination off the safe if the safe is open. If the drawer is pulled out and you can turn the number and see the bolt go up and play around and find out what makes it, what number it comes back at and stuff like that. With a little trickery, you can get the combination off. So I used to practice it like a card shop practices cards, you know, all the time, all the time, all the time. Quicker and quicker, more and more unobtrusively. I would come in and I'd talk to some guy and I'd kind of lean against his filing cabinet, just like I'm playing with this watch now. You wouldn't even notice I'm doing anything. I'm not doing anything. So I just play with the dial, that's all, just play with the dial. But I was taking the 2 numbers off. And I go back to my office and I write the numbers down. The last 2 numbers of the 3. Now, if you have the last 2 numbers, it takes a minute to try the first number. There's only 20 possibilities and it's open, okay? It takes 3 minutes to open a safe if you know the last 2 numbers. So I got an excellent reputation for safe cracking. They would say to me, Mr. Schmaltz is out of town. We need a document from his safe. Can you open it? I'd say, yes, I can open it. I have to get my tools. I don't need any tools. I'd go to my office and I'd look at the numbers of his safe. I had the last 2 numbers. I had everybody's safe in my office. I put a screwdriver in my back pocket so I would account for the tool I claimed I needed. I'd go back to the room and I would close the door. The attitude is that this business about how you open safes is not something that everybody should know, because it's very, you know, it makes everything unsafe. It's very dangerous to have everybody know how to do this. So I close the door, and then I sit down and read a magazine or do something. I'd average about 20 minutes of doing nothing. And then I'd open it, you see. Well, I open it right away, make sure everything was all right, and I'd sit there for 20 minutes to give myself a good reputation that it wasn't too easy. There was no trick to it. No trick to it. And then I'd come out, I says, you know, sweating a bit. It's open. There you are, and so forth, okay? I also, at one particular moment, I did open a safe purely by accident, and that helped to enforce my reputation. It was a sensation. It was pure luck, the same kind of luck I had with the blueprints. But after the war was over, I went back to Los Alamos to finish some papers, and there I did some safe opening, which I could write a safe cracker book better than any safe cracking book. It would start in the beginning, and it would explain how I opened the safe, absolutely cold, without knowing the combination, which contained more secret thing than any safe that's ever been opened. I opened the safe that contained behind it the secret of the atomic bomb, all the secrets, the formulas, the rates at which neutrons are liberated from uranium, how much uranium you need to make a bomb, all the theories, all the calculations, the whole damn thing. This is the way it was done, all right? I was trying to write this report. I needed this report. It was a Saturday. I thought everybody worked. I thought it was like Los Alamos used to be. So I go down to the library. The library at Los Alamos had all these documents. And there was a great vault with a great knob of a different kind of knob. I didn't know anything about it. Filing cabinets I understood, but I was only an expert on filing cabinets. Not only that, but there were guards walking back and forth in front with guns. So you can't get that one open, okay? So I didn't get that. And I think, wait. Old Freddie de Hoffman, in the declassification section, he's in charge of declassifying documents. Which documents now can be declassified? And so he had to run down to the library and back so often. He got tired of it. And he got a brilliant idea. Did he get a copy made of every document in the Los Alamos library, right? And he'd stick it in his filing cabinet, and he had 9 filing cabinets, one right next to the other in 2 rooms, full of all the documents of Los Alamos. And I knew he had that. So I'll go up to de Hoffman, I'll ask him to borrow the document from him. He's got a copy. So I went up to his office, and the office door is open. And it looks like he's coming back. The light is lit. It looks like he's coming back any minute. So I wait. And as always, when I'm waiting, I diddle the knobs. I tried 10, 20, 30. Didn't work. 20, 40, 60. Didn't work. Try everything. I'm waiting. Nothing to do. Then I begin to think. You know, those locksmith people, I ain't never been able to figure out how to open them cleverly. Maybe they don't either. Maybe all the stuff they're telling me about psychology is right. I'm going to open this one by psychology. First thing in the book, it says, the secretary is very often nervous that she will forget the combination, and she's been told the combination she might forget, and the boss might forget, she has to know. So she nervously writes it somewhere. List of places where secretaries write combinations, okay? Starts out with, you know, the most clever thing, starts right out with you open the drawer and the wood along the side of the drawer on the outside is written carelessly a number, like as if it was an invoice number. That's the combination number. So it's on the side of the desk, okay? I remember that in the book. The desk drawer's locked. I could pick the lock easy. I opened the lock right away. Pull out the drawer, look along the wood, nothing. It's all right, it's all right. There's a lot of papers in the drawer. I fish around among the papers, and finally I find there's a nice little piece of paper, which is the Greek alphabet, alpha, beta, gamma, delta, and so forth, carefully printed. The secretaries have to know how to make those letters and how to call them when they're talking about them, right? So they all had, each one had a copy of this thing. But carelessly scrawled across the top is pi is equal to 3.14159. Well, why does she need the numerical value of pi? She's not computing anything. So I go up to the safe, it's honest. It's like any other book, only I'm just telling you how it was done. I walk up to the safe, 31, 41, 59, doesn't open. 13, 14, 95, doesn't open. 95, 14, 13, doesn't open. 41, 31, 20 minutes, I'm turning pi upside down. Nothing happened. So I start walking out of the office, and I remember the book about the psychology, and I said, you know, but it's true. Psychologically, I'm right. Freddie de Hoffman is just the kind of a guy to use a mathematical constant for his safe combination. So the other important mathematical constant is E. So I walk back to the safes, 27, 18, 28, click, it opens. I checked, by the way, that all the combinations were the same. Well, there's a lot of stories about it, but it's getting late, and that's a good one, so we'll let it go at that.